The 1970s were a wild mix of bell-bottoms, disco balls, and the kind of fads that make you laugh just thinking about them. From goofy fashion trends to strange toys everyone had to have, it was a decade that didn't take itself too seriously. So, if you remember shag carpets, lava lamps, and the sound of a rotary phone clicking, this trip down memory lane is for you. Let's revisit the funny, weird, and wonderfully nostalgic moments of the 70s. The powdered orange drink that claimed fame because astronauts supposedly drank it. Suddenly, every kitchen in America had a jar of the stuff. It didn't taste like orange juice. It tasted like sugar, science, and optimism. Moms mixed it up in plastic pitchers, kids gulped it down before school, and everyone pretended it was part of a balanced breakfast. Whether it was because of NASA or clever marketing, Tang somehow made us feel futuristic while leaving us with neon orange tongues. It was the space age in a cup. If you ever sat on your grandmother's couch in the 1970s, you probably stuck to it. Literally. Those clear plastic covers were like sitting on hot vinyl in the summer. They squeaked, they crinkled, and heaven forbid you wore shorts. But they had a purpose, protecting the good furniture from life itself. You couldn't spill, stain, or breathe wrong without mom giving you a look. It was home fashion meets paranoia, and every living room had that one perfect, untouchable couch, preserved in plastic like a museum exhibit. Somehow, the 1970s decided that avocado green and mustard yellow were the height of sophistication. Kitchens, bathrooms, telephones, and even cars wore those shades proudly. You'd open a fridge the color of guacamole, use a blender the shade of spicy mustard, and somehow it all worked. At the time, it felt warm and cozy. Now it just screams retro. But there's something oddly comforting about it too. Those colors remind us of big family dinners, macrame on the walls, and a world that wasn't afraid of bold choices. Often called the original video game, Pong was the game that blew our minds. 2 paddles, 1 pixelated ball, and somehow it was magic. Families gathered around their bulky TVs, cheering as the little white dot bounced back and forth. You had to manually connect it to your television, twist knobs for difficulty, and pray the signal didn't flicker out mid-match. It was clunky, slow, and weirdly competitive. But for a generation, Pong was proof that the future had arrived, a simpler time when fun only needed 2 lines, a square, and a lot of imagination. The 1970s loved shag carpets, and the fluffier, the better. Whole living rooms looked like they were covered in fuzzy moss. Kids rolled around in it, pets disappeared in it, and cleaning it? Forget it. Vacuuming a shag carpet felt like wrestling a furry monster. But there was something cozy about sinking your toes into that thick pile while watching TV on the floor. Sure, it trapped every crumb and secret known to mankind, but it also defined the decade's vibe, bold, soft, and completely unapologetic. Remember when your favorite song got eaten by your cassette player? The horror. You'd spend hours untangling that shiny brown tape with a pencil, praying you could save it. Mixtapes were serious business back then. Labors of love made for road trips or crushes. Every rewind and fast forward was a delicate operation, and heaven help you if your stereo chewed it up again. But despite the chaos, there was magic in those tapes, personal playlists before playlists existed, with every skip, click, and hiss feeling perfectly human. No 1970s bedroom was complete without a lava lamp bubbling away in the corner. You could stare at it for hours with those blobs of wax slowly rising, floating, and melting back down. It was hypnotic, soothing, and groovy all at once. Every kid thought it was a scientific marvel. Every teen thought it was a vibe. Sure, it got hot enough to fry an egg if you touched it, but that didn't stop anyone. Lava lamps were more than decor. They were mood lighting for an entire generation. Bell-bottoms were the fashion statement of the decade, wide, dramatic, and perfect for catching air as you walked. Everyone had a pair, from teenagers to dads trying to look hip. They swished when you moved and dragged across sidewalks like denim curtains. The bigger the flare, the cooler you were. Looking back, it's funny how we all thought that much fabric around the ankles was stylish. But at the time, those jeans were confidence and freedom stitched in denim, worn proudly with platform shoes and attitude. Every 1970s household knew this ritual. One person twisted the antenna while another yelled, "Hold it right there." You'd stand frozen in position while the picture flickered between static and clarity. Sometimes a random piece of foil or a coat hanger was the ultimate signal booster. Watching TV back then was an exercise in teamwork, patience, and luck. It's funny now, but those moments made the few channels we had feel special. When you finally got that perfect picture, it was pure victory. Shirts, suits, even pajamas, all made from that shiny synthetic fabric that didn't breathe at all. Polyester was cheap, wrinkle-free, and wildly colorful. You could spot a 1970s crowd by the gleam of their clothes alone. On a hot day, polyester turned every outfit into a portable sauna, but no one cared because it looked cool. Those bright prints and tight collars captured the carefree energy of the decade. Today, it's old school. Back then, it was just everyday fabulous. Nothing tasted better on a hot summer day than water straight from the garden hose. It was warm, metallic, and somehow perfect. Kids didn't need fancy sports drinks, just a hose and a backyard. One friend held the nozzle, everyone else lined up for a sip, and somehow it always turned into a water fight. It wasn't filtered, sanitized, or approved by anyone's mom, but it was freedom. Simple, unplanned, and full of laughter. That's what 1970s childhood tasted like. Yes, we actually bought rocks with faces, and they came with care manuals. Pet rocks were the ultimate 1970s fad, equal parts genius and absurdity. You couldn't walk into a store without seeing boxes of them sitting proudly on shelves. They didn't bark, eat, or move, but somehow we loved them anyway. Maybe it was the novelty, or maybe it was just peak 70s humor, making a joke out of nothing and selling it for a few bucks. Either way, pet rocks proved we'd buy anything with personality. If you never dipped something into bubbling cheese in the 1970s, did you even party? Fondue nights were everywhere. Melty pots, long forks, and zero hygiene rules. People double-dipped, the cheese burned, and yet everyone had a blast. It was social, messy, and wonderfully ridiculous. Whether it was chocolate, cheese, or oil, fondue made eating feel interactive and fancy. Looking back, it was part meal, part chaos, but it captured the spirit of the decade: food, fun, and a little bit of flair. With their negative heel design that made you feel like you were walking uphill, these shoes were supposed to be good for you. In reality, they were clunky, odd-looking, and strangely uncomfortable, yet everyone swore by them. Earth shoes became a badge of enlightenment, worn by people chasing health, peace, and a bit of fashion rebellion. Looking back, it's funny how we all convinced ourselves that discomfort equaled wellness. Still, those chunky soles and earnest vibes are pure 1970s nostalgia, awkward, idealistic, and unforgettable. Ah yes, the ultimate mix of science and superstition, mood rings. One glance at the color, and supposedly it revealed your emotions. Blue for calm, green for relaxed, black for don't talk to me. Kids believed it completely, showing off their moods like emotional thermometers. Of course, it mostly just reacted to body temperature, but that didn't stop anyone. Mood rings were affordable magic, a little piece of the 70s that made you feel connected to something mysterious. They never really worked, but they sure made us feel cool. If you enjoyed this laugh-filled trip through the 70s, check out our next video, 40 Things from the 1970s Today's Kids Will Never Understand, where we explore more forgotten quirks from the past that defined everyday life.